and welcome to today's Lionel Legal Live on a particular subject which I've been meaning to talk to you about because it's in every day's news. We speak about it constantly. We discuss it on regular bases, and that is the notion of people getting arrested. So and so was arrested. And then you hear he was taken into custody. And we use words all the time that we think, well, was he convicted? Was President Trump convicted? Well, he was found guilty, right? And for reasons I don't understand, we fail, or we refuse, or we will not look at the specifics of what it is that indeed are the terms used. Now, let's talk about this. And let me start off with this preface right now. I in no way and in no wise am suggesting to you of how to keep from getting arrested, of flouting the law, skirting the law. But I see things constantly that I must speak of, specifically regarding these wonderful, wonderful YouTube notion, body cam videos of people basically walking into arrests for reasons that I will never understand. It's one of those things I just will never, I will never, ever understand. So let's get down to a couple of facts here. Let's go down to a couple of things. First, taken into custody versus arresting. There are linear ways of looking at things. Linear. We start off with one. It's like a bechamel sauce, and then if you add this, it becomes a hollandaise, and if you add this, it becomes something else. You start with the initial aspect of detention, and we use words like stop, detention, custodial detention, custody, and then arrest. And it's one of those wonderful little transitions which I want you to know. Just follow through. First, the question that you must ask is when you are stopped. And this is a critical term. When you are stopped is, am I in custody? It's the first question you have to ask in a nice way, without bothering people, without being mean and nasty and truculent. But it's a question that you should ask. Am I in custody? And the way you find out if you're in custody is a very simple question. Am I free to leave? If the answer is no, you're not free to leave, you must stay here, you're in custody. And we'll get to that later. So first step, first rule, first element, ultimately of an arrest is you must be in custody. You can't be arrested and not know it. You can't, it's not one of those things where you must, that was an arrest? I'll be doggone. No, you know it. Stops are one thing. And then later on we get into to have somebody, to hold somebody in custody, to stop them. And these are basically different ways of saying in custody. A stop, a custodial stop. You're in custody. It's a stop. It's the same thing. Not free to leave. With the intention of being charged with a crime, now you're under arrest. That's it. Now you're under arrest. You are physically seized. Now, there are times when you are in custody where you are not free to leave, but you're given a ticket. And if you were to leave too early, if you were to leave without the approval or the permission of the police officer, then what you're doing is you're basically fleeing and eluding, obstruction of justice, and a variety of other things. So you might be stopped and they're given a traffic ticket. So you really weren't arrested. You were stopped for the purposes of being charged, but with a criminal offense or a civil offense. Is it a traffic ticket or was it a crime? And what is a crime? A crime is an offense where you theoretically face the possibility of actual incarceration, even though nobody has ever been incarcerated for any of that stuff. Does that make sense? You see, for example, let me give you an example. There were some offenses that we do not want you to even remotely face the possibility of being charged with a crime, even though nobody has ever done it. One time, in some particular jurisdictions, if there is a water ban, some people have been actually held, or some people have been prohibited from watering their lawn. And if you are caught, it's a secondary misdemeanor or a class C or A or whatever your particular jurisdiction calls it. The lowest in where our old neck of the woods used to be a second degree misdemeanor. It's like 60 days in the county jail. It's the lowest crime there is because you have the theoretical possibility of being sentenced to 60 days in the county jail, even though nobody has ever been charged with it. You hear that a lot on TV. Well, President Trump faces 198,000 years. Well, not there. That's not going to happen because it would have to be done consecutively without. No, it's not. It's not going to happen. But theoretically, mathematically, yes. So sometimes police officers will stop you. Come here, you. Am I in custody? Yeah, you're in custody. For what? What basis do they have to hold me in custody or to stop me? Now, for an arrest, it's probable cause. Best translation of probable cause is he probably did it. Probable cause. Sounds great, doesn't it? Probable cause. And I can give you the definition of probable cause. Those facts and circumstances which would lead the reasonable person to believe that a crime had been committed, blah, blah, blah. It's a kind of a reasonable man test. Those facts, those circumstances, which would lead a reasonable person to believe, what does that mean? I don't know. Probable cause. He probably did it. Now, to make things even more complicated, sometimes a police officer will be outside and he'll look around and say, hey, I see this guy standing outside. It's 3 a.m. He's standing in front of this store and he keeps looking around furtively. He can't see me. He doesn't know, but I'm looking at him. And I don't know what he's got going there, but there's something not kosher about this. I don't understand. He's got a flashlight. He looks like he's got a mask or something. Well, a mask today doesn't mean anything. By the way, in most jurisdictions in the old days, you couldn't wear a mask. It was against the law except for Halloween. I think this guy is casing the joint. I think he's about to burglarize this joint. So I'm going to go and I'm going to talk to him. But I want him to stop so I can talk to him. I want to conduct a brief custodial detention so I can find out, what are you up to? What are you doing here? He's not under arrest, but he's in custody. He's in custody. Well, what standard do I have as a police officer must I employ to hold somebody in custody? What is it? That's easy. In that case, I need reasonable suspicion. You mean probable cause? No, probable cause is over here. Reasonable suspicion is down here. What does this mean? Whatever I want it to mean. I don't know. It sounds so clear, doesn't it? I use these terms: reasonable suspicion, probable cause, proof evident, presumption, great, clear and convincing, preponderance of the evidence. There's all these phrases to describe the level and quality of the proof. So in this case, the cop says, come here, just for a second. I'm going to ask you something. What are you doing here? Now, do you have to answer questions? We'll get to that in a moment. But it gets even more stick. This is called stop and frisk. They used to call it sometimes stop, detain, and frisk. Stop, question, and frisk. Stop. There's different ways. It's called the Terry stop from Terry against Ohio, 1968 Supreme Court case. And it stands for the proposition that when a police officer believes that there is a reasonable suspicion, reason to believe that a crime is being committed, was committed, or is about to be committed, the police officer can hold you for a brief detention, a brief custodial stop, just to check things out, just to see if everything's okay, just to make sure everything's groovy. That's all. And in order to protect the officer safety, he can conduct a brief exterior pat down to see if there's any weapons. He looks for metal bulges and handles and knife blades and things that might say, hey, this is a gun. Then he can reach in, pull the gun out. If he has, again, now he has probable cause of a felony, which was allowed because of the reasonable suspicion to stop. You can't just go up to somebody and say, hey, is that a gun in your pocket? Or are you just happy to see me? Is that a gun? Well, no, unless that somehow justifies probable cause. Maybe if a police officer saw a handle sticking out, that's open view. Sure, go ahead. You don't need a warrant for that. Oh, forget warrants. Warrants are this classic Fourth Amendment thing. The warrant requirement. There's no warrant. Don't worry about it. So anyway, so you got it so far. We have stops. Terry stops. Stop and frisk. If the police officer says, okay, you're free to go, see you. But if during the course of this he says, there's something wrong here, and if that reasonable suspicion rises to probable cause, then he can arrest you. But he can't go in searching. He can pat you down first. That's the stop. Later on, it gets more tricky. When you are facing an arrest, and the classic, let's face it, most people watching right now, you fine folks, most of you have nothing really to worry about except for you probably, not always, but most people, the closest they ever come is DWI. Drinking and driving. Oh, and that is a whole nother, that's the best example of them all. Most people will have no arrest confrontation with police officers. None. You understand that? Billy writes, yes, I got arrested. Photo fingerprints. The cell was private. Stainless steel seat bed. They let me go at 3 a.m. Fascinating. It's very, very frightening to be brought in. Sometimes you can be ROR'd, released on your own recognizance. Brought before, you get a desk appearance. Depending upon every jurisdiction is different. You might be brought to like a precinct, get a desk appearance. See you later. You promise to show up? Yeah, it's minor. First time offense. There's no room in the jail. Just show up. And if you don't show up, they'll issue a capias or a warrant or something. But you're physically in custody with the purposes of being charged with a crime. That's what an arrest is. Now, let me tell you what not to do. First and foremost, there's an expression. Remember this as long as you live. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. What if this officer stop is bad? What if it is wrong? What happens then? You go to court and the charges are eventually dismissed, and that's it. You will win eventually. You will win. However, in the meantime, there you are in the Hooskow, in the pokey. There you are. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. Let me give you an example of this. This is a great one. Years ago, there was a case involving street anti-crime, a sack crime. This cop comes in and he pats a person down for whatever his reason, and he comes across something and he says, and he feels plastic bags, little plasticine bags. He knows what it is. It's dope. He knows exactly what it is. It's dope. He pats it and goes, I can even feel him. I know exactly what this is. It's dope. It's heroin. And the guy knew. And he reaches in, finds it, yep, it's dope, and arrests him for possession of heroin. It was my case. I defended him, had the case thrown out, suppressed the search. Absolutely awful. Why? When the police officer patted him down, the police officers had to answer the question, why did you think there was a weapon? When were you ever put in the position of feeling that you were in fear? You know what he said? This was the best one ever. He said, well, it could have been poison powder, some kind of a magic, like a poison. And the judge just laughed at him and let him go. Did the cop break the law? Yeah. But he's going to take heroin off the street. Did he violate his rights? Yeah, I guess. Did we win? Yeah. He was vindicated. Should not have been arrested. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the rap. Luckily for this guy, he was nice. And this is the nicest thing ever. And the best advice I can give you, don't be a jerk. Don't be a jerk. I don't know why people are, but when I watch these shows on TV, I notice a couple of things. A bunch of people will say the following. I want to talk to your supervisor. Where did that come from? Where did that come from? I want to talk to your, give me your supervisor. What? I want to talk to your supervisor. First of all, who are you to say you want to talk to the supervisor? Who the hell are you with the supervisor? Oh, I don't know. I see this on YouTube all the time. No, I'm not going to get the supervisor. You have no right to the supervisor. I am the supervisor. That's like saying, bring me the mayor. The mayor? What are you talking? It's ridiculous. For some reason, people think they can do this. Or I know my rights. That's my favorite. And when you hear I know my rights, you know and I know, they are just absolutely bruising for a problem. You're not going to win. The police officer's not going to say, oh, you know your rights. Well, say no more. See, I didn't know that. Sorry. Oh, thank you. I did not know that. You know what? Let him go, Jerry. He knows his rights. Oh, he does. Yeah, he knows his rights. Let him go, Jerry. All right. He knows his rights. He knows his rights? Yeah, he knows his rights. Oh, there you go. Stop it. Stop it. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that I have seen these cases where they were going to walk. It was nothing. The police officer was just, but this guy such a jerk. Is oh, now you're coming in. Oh, we're going to ruin your night. Absolutely. Kicking, spitting, yelling, cursing. For what? They turn a misdemeanor or an infraction into a felony. You hit a cop, battery in a law enforcement officer. That's it, felony. Obstruction of justice, obstructing or opposing. What did you do? Yes, sir. Can I help you, sir? Yes, sir. License and registration. Yes, sir. Sometimes they want you to get out of the car. Sometimes they want you to stay in the car. Whatever he says, you just do it. And don't get chatty. Answer questions, maybe. What about Miranda? I'm going to do a whole special on Miranda. Hey, you didn't read me my rights. They never read me my rights. That's the biggest one ever. You know, he didn't read my rights. Do you know your rights? Yeah. But he did read my rights. For some reason, people think, I guess by virtue of TV, that when you're arrested, you have to have your rights read to you. And if they don't read the rights, Miranda, you have the right to remain silent. And anything you say. Miranda comes into play in two different circumstances. Two elements have to be there. Number one, you're in custody. You know what that is. You're not free to go. And number two, you're being interrogated. So if I'm going to ask you questions and you're in custody, I better read Miranda, or else I can't use what you say. And we really get into these questions. We really find these things as being nutty. Dick Dickerson, ladies and gentlemen, says, I always tell police I'm a sovereign citizen and I pay their salaries. They love that. You are asking. Sovereign citizens are, and thank you, by the way, Dick, are idiots. I don't know where they get this thing from. You have no right. I don't need a driver's license under the Constitution. There's no requirement for, forget it. Forget it. I don't have to file income tax. There's no requirements that anybody files income tax. Show me where it says you have to. They've been doing this stuff forever, and I don't know why it never works, and it's just one of those things. There's no reason. Unless you just want to be a jerk to the cop, you're not going to win. You're not. If there's a chance of you being let go, you just ruined it. And the best part, and listen carefully. Now, I am not telling anybody What to do if you've been drinking? Don't drink and drive. Don't. Don't. Yeah, but doesn't it say under the influence? Uh-huh. What does that mean? I don't know. Well, what's the blood alcohol level? Do you know your blood alcohol level now? No. And what difference does it make? Yeah, but I understand it's a 0.08. Is it? Do you have a machine in your car? No. What difference does it make? Can you drink it? What am I now? About a 0.2, 0.3, 0.2, you'd be dead almost. You'd be unconscious. But when I see somebody with a 0.2, that's an alky. That's an alky. Good luck. I've seen people gooned out of their minds with a 0.1. And get your numbers right. At a 1.3. No, you didn't. No, you'd be, I think bodies and bomb people have a 1.3, as you say. No. What did they do? They're talking and they're breathing over them. Oh my God. And there's something about people who are drunk. They think that for some reason they're glib. They're, I'm not drunk. I'm not drinking. What are you talking about? I am not drinking. And their head gets real heavy. So real heavy in there. I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. I've not been drinking. Now, should the cop be asking you, read you Miranda? I think so, but they never do. Sir, have you been drinking? Am I in custody? Whew. Whew. Why are you talking? You got a mouth, you're about a 0.18. You're gassed out of your mind. What are you doing? This guy doesn't know, unless you're weaving all over the place. He may not have even known anything. Sometimes they find out that you've been, Do you have, first thing in the world, you should do you have your license and registration ready to go? Do you have it? Do you have it in your car where there it is? Do you have it? Make sure you have it. Not if you're drinking drive. If you have it at all, make sure. Now, where is it? Honey, open that up. Oh, Jesus. All kinds of stuff in there. And I don't know where in the hell. I've got a nice little packet of information. Open it up. There it is. And if you're going to have your license, please don't have your license on the phone. Excuse me, your insurance on the phone. Don't hand your phone to the police officer. Can I take this phone? Yeah. Who knows? They're going to log into. I mean, I have no idea. Have that little piece of paper that says, Progressive or whatever the number is. Have a piece of paper, not it on your phone. Don't hand him your phone. And Buster said, hang on, officer. Wait a minute. What the hell? Oh, is there? Are we in a bad? There's no Wi-Fi. Do you have your Wi-Fi? What's your password? I can't. First of all, what are you doing? You're moving around. You look, and the white always in the police report. He fumbled for his wallet. Had a difficult time finding the registration all the time. Because you're a schmuck. You've got it inside you. Wait a minute, officer. Hang on. Let me get my phone. Honey, give me the phone. Let me see. Are we Geico or no? We're Progressive. Hang on. Let me get the app. And when you're scared, and that guy's got that lighter on, he's got that flashlight on it, and it's over his shoulder. You know why? So he can do this. Boop. That's why. So he can hit you with it. How are you tonight? He doesn't know. Cop wants to go home. He's scared. And what are you doing? Breathing all over him. Can't find anything. And he says, this guy's gassed. And he says, is there any way I can let this guy go? Can I let her drive? I don't want to take this guy in. Maybe he does. Maybe he doesn't. Sometimes some cops love doing that. I got the whole night off. I pick him in. I go to the jail. I spend hours there. Say hello to my friends, drink coffee. It's great. Put it in his overtime. Get a nice DUI right before it's time to leave. Oh, wow. Those overtimes. Oh, those overtimes are great. Overtimes, unused paydays. And when they retire at the end, they've got like 9 years of unused. Oh, my God. 100,000, 200,000. Oh, my God. They love that. Depends on the jurisdiction. Depends. And there you are looking for your phone. Hang on a minute. Now, have you been drinking? Come on, be honest with me. What are you going to say? Can you lie to him? Now, if you lie to the FBI, that's a crime. What's that, USC 1001, that classic? You're just lying. Can you lie? Have I been drinking? No. Now you look like a jerk. Can you say to him, I'm not going to answer? Okay. You just answered the question. You're going now. You're going. And you've done that. He has not violated any of your rights. He asked you a question and you declined to answer. Okay. Or you answered and you lied. Okay. Either way, he's looking at you and you're gassed. You're going. That's the way it goes. And there's nothing you can do about it. You are going. You understand me? You're going. Nighty night. That's it. And as far as your wife goes, maybe she's getting, I don't know. And all of this is made worse. Now, here's the best part. Going back to the drinking and driving. Nobody knows how this thing works. Here's my question. If we really hated drinking and driving, why do we allow parking lots at bars? I don't understand that. How does that work? We allow drinking and driving, but you can't be, quote, under the influence to the extent your normal faculties are impaired, or driving with an unlawful blood alcohol, or whatever the hell, unlawful limit. Every time you take a sip, are you under the influence? Yeah, not much, but a little bit. Are your faculties impaired? Yeah, a little bit, not much. Can you still drive? I don't know. I mean, what does it mean to drive? Joe Biden can't drive. He's not drunk. The whole law, it's the vaguest thing in the world. Justin Timberlake is a schmuck. He wants to go out and drink these Boilermakers. Big millionaire. Get an Uber driver. What's the matter with you? It's in the Hamptons. What's the matter with you? Get an Uber driver. Get a driver. Act like a big shot. Drink yourself silly. Just, I don't understand it. And what happens is when you drink, you get more powerful and you get more confident. And there's a greater amount of certitude. And I'm this. And you're louder. And some people are nice. Some people aren't. Some people get loud. Some people get cocky. Some people get talkative. Some people get. And the women are the worst. You can't tell. I know my rights. F you. And I see this and I watch something. Oh my God. And they do everything and they take these. Oh God. Somewhere I want to find somebody who took a field sobriety test and passed. Well, you're great, sir. Sorry, my mistake. Have a nice day. Let him go. He was great. He passed it, did the ABCs, picked up the coin, did the heel to toe. He's perfect. Let him go. Because they've already made their mind up. Whatever they say, they're not doing any tests to see to get you off the hook. They're confirming their suspicion. They're not doing anything to see. And that horizontal gaze nystagmus, that's my favorite. Sir, would you follow this, please? Would you follow this? Yes. Would you follow? Okay, there we go. Would you follow? And supposedly the earlier the onset of nystagmus, the more you are out of your mind. And each angle, if it's a 10-degree angle or a 15-degree angle, it correlates with X amount. One time in a deposition, I had a bunch of, I actually got a protractor and I wrote a 15-degree angle and a 23-degree angle. And I asked the police officer, I said, do you know what this angle is? Now, each degree, there's 90, 45, obviously. But then, you go a 10-degree onset versus 15-degree onset. If you look right to the extreme right, you'll notice a little bit of that twitch. Spin around a room and stop, and your eyes will go like that. Your eyes will move. That's nystagmus. They do this all the time. I don't know who came up with this. What are you, a doctor? If you're up close to this guy and he's breathing all over you, he's like this, and you're doing the nystagmus stance, the HGN on his eye, What are you, nuts? You've already made up your mind. What is this? Just insult to injury? Well, they just like to do this. Would you look, please, at this? It's like the neuralizer, the Men in Black. We just zap you. So what's the best advice? Cooperate and keep your mouth shut. You have the right to remain silent. Use it. Stop talking. Stop talking. What are you doing? Why are you? What is this? Your friend? What are you doing? Because it's our nature to talk. Where are you coming from? I love that. Where were you tonight? None of your damn business where I'm from. Oh, that's good. They always ask that though. Where are you from? Where are you going? What's the square root of 11? What do you ask for? I don't know what they're going to do. What are you talking to me for? You've never thought about this. And plus, I love this especially when it gets cold and the windows are up and you're inside with the heater and you've been breathing this stuff, breathing this stuff, breathing this stuff, breathing this stuff, breathing. And all of a sudden the cop pulls over and he taps in the glass and you roll down that window and it smells like the Jim Beam distillery just blew up. And he goes, oh man, baked in hot heat smell funk, dear God. Oh, all right. I'll ask the question. Have you been drinking? No. My breath always is like this. What are you talking about? I know my rights, buddy. I'm a constitutionalist. I'm a citizen. I know my rights. I don't need a license. I know my right. James, the tree of liberty, MAGA. Okay. Do not understand that. I do not understand it. I do not understand it. There's nothing better than, if you're a prosecutor, red eyes, what do you blow? 0.18. Okay, this is great. We're in the bag. Now, what's interesting too is they always ask, well, what should I do? Should I take that breathalyzer? Nobody can advise you of that. Here's the story though. If you refuse to take the breathalyzer or the intoxilyzer, depending on the particular instrument, and you're found not guilty, you still do the 18 months, whatever it is, for refusing to take the breathalyzer. You were found not guilty, but you refused. At one time, we used to have these things called these hearings. Oh, they were wonderful. They were the hearings to determine, they were called the implied consent hearing. And the question is, did you really understand when you refused this? Did you really understand what it meant to refuse to take the breathalyzer, that you would lose your license? Did you really understand this? So you have this hearing to determine whether the implied consent provision was met. Was this a knowing and intelligent waiver? Did they read the rights to you? Or the responsibility? Do you really know what it meant? So one day I had this guy who had the thickest Jamaican accent I've ever heard in my life. He made Peter Tosh or Bob Mayo, Bob Marley sound like, John Houseman. I mean, they were, which makes no sense. But anyway, this guy was really. So the deputy was such a nice guy. He says, I got to be honest with you, counselor. What is that, deputy? Well, I did detect an accent. You did you? Yeah, I got to be honest with you. I don't know if, I'm not so sure if he understood what I was talking about. So the client's pulling at me. I said, not now. Yeah, but not now. I know what you're going to say. Not now. The judge even said, I noticed that as well. Where's he from? I'm not answering anything. I said, don't. What is this? Oh, Kingston. Is that Jamaica? Oh, yeah. I thought I heard that. Yeah. I knew he wasn't from here. And I got to the point. I said, I'm going to break your finger if you touch me one more time. Now stop it. I know what you're going to say. I'm not saying anything. He's not saying anything. So they granted the implied consent hearing. It's never done. No, it's never done. So he is the only person he refused it, and he had his license reinstated because the judge realized or said, I don't think he understood the legal parameters, the legal aspects of his refusal. So I went outside and said, what is it? What is it now that's so goddamn important? He goes, I can speak English. I said, I know you schmuck. I don't know where they think Jamaica is. I don't know if they think you don't speak English because you got an accent. So what? The Irish accents, they speak English. Well, maybe. You got to know when to keep your mouth shut. You never want to lie. If somebody says, can you speak English? You got, I'm not saying anything. You're doing all the talking. I'm not. You're not asking me a question. Shut up. That was the funniest thing ever. But then, if you refuse, or you have the DUI, you got to have that device on your car where you got to blow into it before. Oh my God. Oh, and there's no hiding that. Hi, want to go on a date? Yeah. What are you doing? Nothing. What are you doing? Nothing. It's a tube. I start the engine this way. It's it's the latest. It's climate control. It's less carbon. I blow into it and we turn the ignition fan. It's horrible. What a racket that is. You got to go to one place and then they put the machine in. You got to have it calibrated. Oh, it's a racket. DUI is the worst. And it's good in your record about 75 years. They don't come off. I mean, it's just, and even if you have, sometimes, even if you have them reduced to like, well, sometimes it's not really reduced, but it can be like a reckless driving. Reckless driving, you're actually amending it because it's a criminal case, but sometimes careless, depends upon the jurisdiction. They look, you can read your records, like, oh, arrest on this date, and son of a gun, he gets a careless driving. They reduced this. This is a reduction. I know what this was. Yeah, but I wasn't. Well, you're not convicted of DUI, but there it is. I mean, it's just so. You got to get a lawyer. Then you got to go probation. Then you might have like you got to go to drunk classes and you got to go to alcohol, which is very good because a lot of times people would be charged with drink driving, as they say in the UK, and they had some pretty serious problems which they never really addressed. So what I'm saying to you, dear friend, listen to me. Listen to me. If there's any doubt, especially with Uber and Lyft and all that, leave your car at home or leave it someplace else. Don't. It's the worst. And you think alcohol, what was it? Hemingway said, write drunk, but edit sober. You think sometimes you're just possessed with this ability to be clear and to drive. I know what I'm doing. I'm fantastic. No, you're not. Yes, I am. You can always tell how much you've been drinking the night before by how loud the radio was. I don't know if they do that anymore, but that's real loud at a windshield wipers. You know, it's ridiculous. And people who drive, who actually take to-go cups, you ever seen that? You're just asking for it. That used to be called open container. And one more thing about drinking and driving. When you stop, if you say, all right, I've had enough, thank you. Sorry, Maxine, I'm going to go. All right, guys, one's my limit. One what? Well, a beer. Nobody has a beer. But you know what? I'm going to stop now because I've had enough. When you stop, your alcohol rate goes up. We saw, I think, one time a demonstration where this guy took a shot of, I don't know what it was, and then blew into the machine. 00. Nothing. Because he didn't have a chance to assimilate, to get into the alveoli of his lungs, and to incorporate into his breath. Now it goes up. It'll be like 0.01, 0.02, 0.03. There we go. Now it's making its way. So if you take one reading now, take another reading a couple minutes later, and it's going up, you can actually extrapolate backwards and say, guess what? At the time he was pulled over, he wasn't drunk, because you can work backwards. If it's coming down, that's not good. If it goes from a 0.08 to a 0.06, that means it was a 0.1, 0.12 when he was stopped. So that works into it as well. You can't gauge these things. And they say, well, if you have one drink for 1 hour for everybody. No. Mrs. Doll last night and I were driving back from this event we were in. And we were in the Queens Midtown Tunnel. And this guy in front of us was so I thought he's going to scrape the side of the tunnel. He wasn't weaving, but he just was. It was weird. I would have pulled him over just to make sure he's not blind, and he was probably fine. But I'm just looking at this driving. It was weird, and then all of a sudden with GPS and people are looking, and yet you're in this car with all of these lights and flashes and GPS and this and your phone and it's the distractions, and you're trying to be. And most people who get in trouble for DUI, there's no accident, there's no nothing. Let me pull them over for some, driving or whatever it is, but nothing bad. So that is the greatest thing in the world. That is the best advice in the world. That's the best advice in the world. Remember this one. You can beat the rap. Say it again. Say it with me. You can beat the rap, but you can't beat the ride. Be polite. You are never going to be arrested for not saying anything. Your Honor, yeah, he didn't answer any of my questions. In fact, if they say that at your trial, that's a mistrial. You can't comment on a defendant's election to remain silent. Nobody's ever been in trouble for he didn't say anything. What? You didn't answer the officer? What the hell's the matter with you? No. They start talking and talking and talking, and they think they're glib and they're going to talk their way out of it. In fact, have you ever seen an alcohol influence report, these old AIRs or whatever it's called? They always say eyes, watery, bloodshot, crossed. There's no normal, not sparkly, beautiful, but clear. Nope. It's always negative. Everything's negative. Everything's stumbling, confused, use his car for support, obstreperous. Well, I'm put that one in. People get themselves in more problems than you would ever imagine. They are there. You're not going to talk them out of it. And then you get into this other thing. Can I search your car? What do you think about that one? Can I search your car? They want to search my car. They think I'm going to get the canine. Okay. If you're going to decline, because remember, they're asking you. They're asking for consent. They're asking. And if you say, no, thank you, be polite. If they're asking you, believe me, nobody asks you if you want to be arrested. Nobody asks you. They're asking you. Do you mind if we look? Yes, I do. And please, I know my rights, and no. But remember, whatever you do, polite. How was he? Very. Later on, when that case comes along and they say, you know what, I think we got a crummy case here. I might want to reduce it. Let me see what the officer thinks. And you say, who was that guy? What's his name? Mandrake. Where was it? Oh, that guy? Oh, I remember this guy. What a jerk. Hell no. Really? Oh, yeah. And they would put little codes sometimes in the police reports, something that lets you know, like, this guy's a jerk. It never ceases to amaze me. Why are you acting? I don't understand this. People who also, they get caught shoplifting. Those are my favorites. And they just, once they catch you, that's it. That's it. Speeding's another thing. Why'd you stop me? Other people are speeding. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? I do not, I swear to God. The idiots, there should be a special court for people who talk themselves into higher. And you touch a police officer? Nice knowing you. Nice knowing you. You lay a hand on a police officer? Never ceases to amaze me. Watch those classic YouTube channels. Especially, please, ladies, don't take it the wrong way, women. They are the worst. Well, they can be. Not in general. All right, dear friends. Listen, thank you. I hope, remember, this is not to uh, suggests that you drink and drive, I think I've been very clear. Do not do this. Dick Dickerson, thank you, sir. I'm not telling you to do anything to oppose or obstruct police officers, but I am telling you one thing: people make it worse. Any decision, any decision to arrest you has most probably already been made. And the worst is when they weren't going to arrest you, but all of a sudden they decide, I'm going to do this because you're a jerk and I want to teach you a lesson. That's it. Thank you for following. Make sure you follow Lionel Legal. Lionel Nation's the other channel. This is legal. I'm going to do a lot of legal stuff in here. Talk about Alec Baldwin, his case coming up. A lot of stuff was interesting to give you. Yes, there's the rule of law, but then there's the reality, the human element of this. All right, dear friends, have a great and a glorious day. It was such a pleasure being with you. We will speak again next time. And until then, as to the comment sections, I'd love to see what you have to say, your experiences, your trips to the Who's Gal and the Pokey and the Gray Bar Inn. And I ask you and beseech and entreat and request that you comment as you see fit. And we will see you next time. Stay subscribed. Ta-ta.